Okay, bit of a heavyweight clash now at the top of the table from Division 2 between Lorenzo Somma and Michael Yu. You can see Michael has just run away with the competition. At this stage, he's sitting on 53 points. Lorenzo enters on 39. So Lorenzo's in striking distance, but he needs a very good performance here today. It looks like Lorenzo is on I don't know what, and mono red for Michael. Big thank you to David Hall, who recorded this match and has sent it. So that background, I'm not sure who. I'll get to that in a second. This is a new stat that I'm going to start bringing up. It's historical because these two have played a fair bit before. So you can see they've played 3 times. Michael has picked up standard 8 points to 1. He's picked up modern 8 points to 1, but legacy favours Lorenzo 8 points to 1. So overall, Michael's collected 17 points to Lorenzo's 10. For those that have been in the league for a while, I'm going to start putting this in front of their games each time, just to give us an idea of the history between the two. So this is the 4th meeting between these two across up to 6 seasons of the league. Yeah, as I was saying, David Hall recorded this, and a very big thank you to him, because Lorenzo and Michael both, I think, don't know how to record just yet. That background, I've got no idea what that is. Is that Voltron or Gundam? I'm not going to try and guess. I'm not up with these fads now. Lorenzo here playing Grixis with Whirler Virtuoso. We don't really see the Whirler Virtuoso too much anymore, but no real viable attacks until now. Abraid's going to remove that blocker. So he's just offering up a trade for the Thopter there, and Lorenzo's going to take it. Oh yes, that's right. Some of these, this is David's recording. For some reason, I don't know why. Let me just see, make sure this is on the screen. Yeah, the layout is really strange. So here's a Gonti Lord of Luxury for Lorenzo. So you can see the search for Escanta is off to the very right-hand side. This gets very confusing, particularly if the top player has enchantments and so on over there. As I say, if you look on the right hand bar, Michael's way out in front. Lorenzo's still in the running for finals. He's actually only 14 points down, so he could possibly get a 12-point swing here today, which would draw him closer to the top 2 players in the division make it to the playoffs automatically. 3rd place and 4th is still a chance on wildcards, but the top 2 are guaranteed. So Michael's pretty much a lock at this stage because his lead is so huge. This is round 6, so they'll have 3 games to go after this. The beatdowns are coming now. There's always dangerous to block with the Rekindling Phoenix. It's okay in that case, he doesn't die. You can see 3 cards in the graveyard. So what Michael's going to be setting up next turn is a play we saw quite frequently at the Pro Tour. What's gone now because Vraska's Contempt's going to take the Rekindling Phoenix. But he wants to kill the Phoenix and then play the Goblin Chainwheeler that he has in hand to kill the egg. So Lorenzo now gets to go on the offensive. He's going to drop Michael down to 16. Just holding up a magma spray there. So here's a Chain Whirler, but you can see Michael obviously doesn't have an Abraid or some sort of removal spell to do the 1 damage. Although he can actually magma spray here if he's got it. He's going to shock. Shock went to Lorenzo's face. Just with the hands flashing between the hands at the bottom of the screen, obviously if it's anything other than a red card, we're looking at Lorenzo's hand. All the mono red cards belong to Michael. 2 Whirler Virtuosos is going to put a number of blockers. He can get 2 Thopters now. It just looks like momentum starting to shift back the other way. Michael does still have plenty of removal. So what he can do here is he can lightning strike the rekindling phoenix. And then goblin chainwhirler the egg. I think he's thinking about making a Thopter here. He's going to decide against it and just take the 3. He's going to drop to 8. Lightning Strike is going to drop him to 5. Another Lightning Strike is going to drop him to 2. So dangerous territory now. Wait, is he dead? What happened there? I missed something there. Okay, so we're going to game 2. So Michael takes game 1. And this is a bit annoying because the players have actually swapped positions, so I'll swap these names around. Michael's on the bottom of the screen this time. Glint Sleeve Siphoner. This has dropped off the face of the earth because of Goblin Chainwhirler. It was in sideboards at the Pro Tour because people were scared of the Chainwhirler, so they'll bring it in post sideboard. I'm just going to very quickly get water while they do their thing. So, and here's the Chainwhirler on the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, what I was talking about earlier. It's going to wipe that one away. The awkward thing here as well is that the Chainwhirler has first strike, so the option of a double block is not there for Lorenzo. You can see he's out of energy now, so he's just got a 2-3 that is outclassed by those 2-3-3 first strikers. And of course we can see we're looking at Michael's hand. He's got that Earth Shake, is going to mean that Whirler Virtuoso can't block, so he's actually got lethal on board right here. Well, cast down is going to mean we're going to have another turn. What he can do, I think he's just... Lorenzo's fired this off too early. He's worried about the exert trigger on declare attacks. Michael's just showing patience here because he could have played that Kenra and actually prevented that Whirler Virtuoso from blocking, but he hasn't. So you can see only 3 cards in only 3 mana available for Lorenzo. Effectively at 5, yeah, he can fire off the shock and the bolt at the end of the turn here, so I think this one's gone. Oh wait, it says there Gundam on the playmat. Okay, so it's Gundam. Earlier I guessed it at Transformers or Voltron. Yeah, so we're skipping over to Modern now after Michael quickly takes standard 2 games to 0. I don't know what happened to my menu. There it is there, it's about 10 seconds too slow. And whose hand are we looking at? Michael's. He looks like he's on Bogles, which is an incredibly popular deck all of a sudden. And Lorenzo, we've seen this many times from him in the league. This is a mill. So what we are going to see now is just a flat out race. Who can win the race the fastest? All of these life gain cards from Michael are irrelevant here. Path to Exile is a huge one for Lorenzo. The only relevance that something like a Daybreak Coronet has is in the pump that it's going to give the creature, but you can see there's no creatures here for Michael. I don't think I would have played that second ley line out because it means he's going to take an extra 4 mils from the Mesmeric Orb next turn. How's the Mesmeric Orb going to work here? Michael down to... and a Surgical. What's he going to target with the Surgical? He's targeting Griff's Boon. I don't know if I would have targeted that personally. I think I would have gone after a creature instead because this Bogles deck only plays about, I think it's 12 of them. Okay, so here's the Glade Cover Scout. So he's just going to load it up. You can see it's a 7. It's going to be a 3-turn clock. So Lorenzo's got to mill 36 cards in 3 turns. Going to be very difficult with those 2 Leyline of Sanctities main board. And again, I should just point out the ley lines, and there's a Slippery Boggle as well. The ley lines are not, you know, Michael did not see 18 damage. That's lethal. Game 2 coming up. Yeah, Michael's just saying in chat you love the mill. Yeah, the ley lines, oh, they've switched hands again. So this is game 2. The ley lines are not in the deck because Michael knows that Lorenzo plays mill. The ley lines are pretty standard in the Boggles deck, main deck these days. Slow start here from Lorenzo, but to have 2 ley lines in his opening hand, very important both times. Seal of Primordium. That's on Michael's side. I'm sure Lorenzo's brought in something to deal with this ley line this time because he doesn't have a hope if he doesn't. Well, there we go, Fragmentize. So now he can go to work. Here's Glimpse the Unthinkable. 10 cards into the graveyard. Now, what does he want to take? You can see there's 2 ethereal armors here. I think you go after the totem armors, so something like the Daybreak Coronet. Here's an Archive Trap because of the cracked fetch. That's going to be another, I think it's 13 cards in. So you see 2 Rancors there. Okay, so now we're in business. Michael down to 25 cards with a 3-5. So it's a race. 3 cards left in hand for Lorenzo. He probably needs at least another 2 mill spells. The Boggle is only a 1-1, so if he does, and there's no totem armors, actually no Spirit Umbra as a totem. So if he can get a Path to Exile, for example, would be very good here. Oh, that's not the turn he wants. He can't really, in this match, he can't afford to be just playing a land and go. Particularly ley lines down now. And it resolves, so this does not look good right now for Lorenzo, who's down to 12. Daybreak Coronet next turn. We'll make it 3, 7, 8, 9. That'll make it 10. Okay, that was timely. But I wouldn't have fired it off then. I would have waited until I could suck him in with see if he wants to load it up again with more removal. 3 Razor Verge Thickets for Michael. Okay, he needs something right now. 3 cards in hand, 5 money. He's got nothing, so I think this match is gone from Lorenzo. And this is becoming very one-sided now that you can see the 14-point gap. If this ends here for Michael, it's 14 points is blown out to 22 as we go to Legacy. And, no, sorry, 14 points is blown out. Yeah, that's right, 22. And it can get as bad as 26 in Legacy. 26-point deficit. Oh, that's huge. That is huge. Lorenzo gets engineered explosives and clears the board. You can see now Michael with nothing. He needs to find a creature. Lorenzo needs to find something quick smart. Both players just land go, land go, land go. Again, 2, 4, 6, 8 lands. Here's a boggle. But again, Lorenzo can't do anything. Michael's got a 5 power. 2-turn clock, so top deck time. Top deck or bust for Lorenzo. Does he hit anything? I don't know what he can hit. Supreme Verdict will do it. Ghost Quarter will not. Does he have anything? Blessed Alliance, perhaps. Here we go. Michael swings. Okay, that'll do it. Crypt Incursion. 3 life for each card exiled from the graveyard. Just 30 cards in the graveyard. Oh, Leyline, he can't do it. He can't do it. From target player's graveyard. Leyline means he can't target the graveyard. Michael's going to win. Lorenzo says total bad play, but I didn't see that one either. Yeah, so Lorenzo's going to concede and Michael takes 2 games to 0 in Modern as well. Looking for a clean sweep. So on to Legacy. I don't know why my recording is delayed for the menus here, but it's incredibly frustrating. You can see that it seems to overlap a little bit. Lorenzo with the Spellskite, he's been playing that Painter's Servant deck. And Michael looks like he's taken a leaf out of his good friend Oliver King's book and playing Death and Taxes. Not really sure. I'm not a Legacy expert, so I don't know who this matchup favours. I can tell you that the other result that we're interested in here is Coron Chambers versus Nick Peterson, because Nick Peterson, Lorenzo is about 3rd position. Nick Peterson is the one that's trying to close the gap. But as I say, the gap is considerable to Michael. Here's a Swords to Plowshares and a Transmute Artifact. So the Swords on the Painter's Servant. Spellskite is going to protect the Painter's Servant. If you recall the historical, and there's the Grindstone. So what did I miss? Why did he die? Vryn Wingmare. That was from Magic Origins. We haven't really seen that anywhere else. So a Brainstorm here, so he just needs a Painter's Servant. He's got the other half of the combo, which is the Grindstone. Oh, so 2-turn clock now for Lorenzo to find something here. Doesn't find it this turn. The little 1/1 Mother of Ruins with the beatdowns. You can see he's got the other one back in defense, so this looks ugly again for Lorenzo. I don't know what he can get to get himself out of this one now. What can he have? Or are we going to game 2? He needs to deal with 2 creatures. He cannot, so we're going to go to game 2 of Legacy. And I'm just going to have to switch those names around because they've switched positions again. Michael at the top of the screen this time. So Michael's a win away now from a clean sweep, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, which pretty much sums up the season that he's having. And I think he's going to be a real threat in the playoffs, in the finals. And at the time of recording this, his friend Oliver is also on top of the Division 1, so it means that those two would sit, would potentially sit on opposite sides of the finals draw. At worst case scenario, they would meet in the conference final. Because 1 and 4 are seated on one side of the draw and 2 and 3 are seated on the other. As it looks like a mirror this time. A Spellskite out first, followed by a Mother of Ruins and a Thalia. Not really sure why Lorenzo has that relic in from the sideboard. And this is the problem that this deck presents. 2 Mother of Ruins. 1 can be dealt with. 2 is virtually impossible. Okay, this works. But as we've seen in other matches with Death and Taxes, Ensnaring Bridge is not that difficult to deal with. Because they build up a board presence and then use Flicker Wisp to bounce the bridge. So you can see Recruiter of the Guard, if he wants, can go and find a Flicker Wisp now. Instead he gets Kataki War's Wage. That's a good one in this matchup. Because Spellskite is an artifact and so is Ensnaring Bridge. And so is the 2 pieces of the combo that Lorenzo uses to win. 4 cards in hand for Lorenzo, so still very much ouch. Swords to Plowshare is met with a Spell Pierce. I was going to say, it's still an easy swing here for Michael. He's going to get in, so the Thalia is probably going to get blocked. But he's going to take... Oh, I'm not sure why he didn't block the Thalia there. What is... Mother of Ruins, I think you'd name here. So Michael just preemptively protects the Guardian with the Mother of Ruins. That's what he's expecting it to be named. I can't... Ether Vial is the only other thing I can possibly... Oh, okay, no, I like that one. Lorenzo's named Stoneforge Mystic, so the Mystic can't tap to put the Batterskull into play. In come the Knuckleheads again. Down to 10. Here's Force of Will. Kataki's War's Wage is met with a Force of Will. He could actually hard counter that if he wanted to there, Lorenzo. He's got a second Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, 1 can be dealt with Flicker Wisp. 2 is far more difficult. But with 1 card in hand, yeah, the guys can still get in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Lorenzo still needs to play out his threats. Otherwise, he needs to empty his hand. If he can't play a card here for whatever reason, I don't see why he can't with 5 mana, but he would be dead. Facing lethal on board. Okay, so he's going to intuition for something now. 3 cards. Michael will choose one of them. So I think the idea here is he choose 3 the same. He chose 3 islands. That's just to get a card out of his hand. So still the problem here. Flicker Wisp is going to do nothing. All the 1/1s are going to get in. Knock Lorenzo to 1. So now Lorenzo's in the position he has to empty his hand or he's dead. An Ether Vial for Michael. So can Lorenzo empty his hand here? Brainstorm. So he has to find something at the Brainstorm that he can actually play out. He still will have 2 cards in hand. So a land and something else. Show and tell. What's he going to show and tell? You can see that Michael's at the ready of Phyrexian Revoker, so a Grindstone is not going to work. Back to basics. Okay, so non-basic lands don't untap. That's a very handy one. There's a Stone Forge, which is a 1/1, no attacks to be had. Brainstorms. Has to find something he can play. And that Thalia is actually taxing him. There's an Academy Ruin, so he's safe for another turn. What Michael's going to have to do here is get that Ether Vial up to 3 and draw a second Flicker Wisp. So he can... Oh, just as I say that, he draws his second Flicker Wisp. Okay, so he's going to be able to win the match next turn because he can cast 1 Flicker Wisp and Ether Vial in the other to flash those 2 bridges. Lorenzo needing to play this card again. Every turn he's under pressure to play the card, otherwise he loses. Now, if he were of inventions for another ensnaring bridge, then that would be very difficult for Michael to get through. He does. He were of inventions for another ensnaring bridge. So he's got 3 of them on the battlefield now. I'm trying to think what Michael can pull out here. Oh no, he went for a Ratchet Bomb. Okay. So Ratchet Bomb going to take down 1, 2... I think he wants to put the Ratchet Bomb to 2. Particularly... Oh, Phyrexian Revoker is going to stop that. The Revoker name's Ratchet Bomb, obviously. Okay, so now it's... Oh, now it's game over. He can Flicker Wisp. Wait, his Kevin doesn't untap, of course. He needs... This just keeps getting complicated. He needs another land so that he can hard cast the Flicker Wisp. I'm guessing... because I mean, there's a proactive play there from getting a Ratchet Bomb from Lorenzo. Unfortunately, it had the Phyrexian Revoker on the other side. A 3rd Flicker Wisp. Not Flicker Wisp, land is what's required. Now he's at discard, so... Still can't hit that land? What's he doing here? Oh, how did he cast it? I'd missed something there. Yeah, but that's going to bring a concession. Yeah, they're just having a bit of a discussion and chat. We'll just skip forward a bit. This one's over. Let's just skip further forward. Still chit chat. I think, yeah, he's bounced it. He can swing and finish the job. I forgot to put in my scorpion, finish him.